I think I remember asking my mom, do you remember when you started menopause? And when you ask one of these ethnic mothers, it's like they never experienced menopause. They talk to you like, why are you complaining? What is it? But they look at you like, why are you making
Yeah.
such a big fuss about nothing? And they literally can't remember stuff,
Yeah.
The only thing my mom remembered was, oh yeah, she remembered having the bleeding, the excessive bleeding with the periods.
Okay. Okay.
And I've always had really bad periods ever since I started having periods. They've always been traumatic, really bad. I would throw up.
Oh, wow.
I'd throw up the whole of the first day. So having had that happen, and then the excessive bleeding, when I got into my early 40s and I was in perimenopause and didn't know it, and the bleeding just ridiculous. I just
Mm.
thought, oh, this is just me being me.
Hello and welcome to Menopause Whilst Black, the podcast. We are the podcast that is committed to sharing the stories of Black people in any stage of menopause, often, but not always, based in the UK. My name is Karen Arthur. I am the founder and your host. I am a grandma, a mother, an author, a broadcaster, and lots of things in between. And who knows what I'll be doing next year. I hope you've been enjoying these episodes in season 8. This is the final episode with a guest. Next week, I will be back, but with a roundup and a finale for you. However, I want you to enjoy this episode, however you take it in, and I will see you on the other side. All right, take care. Hello and welcome to Menopause Whilst Black Season 8. And we have our final guest of the season. Celia Toks is a dynamic social media personality and community builder known for her infectious energy, African mum, comedy skits, and passion for connecting people. As a single mum, she uses her platform to inspire and empower women to embrace their journeys and create lasting friendships. Celia shares engaging content that highlights memorable experiences, personal growth, and the joys of life. Her mission is to blend fun with purpose, turning her love of socializing into a thriving venture while having lots of fun along the way. Welcome, Celia.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm happy you're here too. And you're going to give me, you've already given me a lovely burst of energy and joy. So I'm sure that our conversation will continue along the same vein. So Celia, tell us about Celia. Tell us about yourself. Who are you outside that wonderful bio?
I'm just me. I I'm just
Right.
me. I feel like I don't completely know who I am sometimes because
Mm.
I keep finding out different things about myself every so often. So I feel like I don't fully know who I am yet. I'm still
Mhm.
learning. I'm still finding different things about me and learning to love and enjoy those things. So I would just say you'd have to meet me. You'd have to meet me to know and decide for yourself who you think I am. But
Okay.
I mean, the important things to me, I don't want to say anything defines me as a person,
Mm.
because I think that's putting pressure on those things.
Yeah.
But I would say the important things to me are obviously my family. So my family, being a mother, although being a mother doesn't define me, but
Hmm.
it's part of who I am.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I just think apart from that, and also being a daughter, obviously my mother, and just yeah, just me. I have ADHD, which is also part of me, so that comes out in lots of exciting and interesting ways. That's why I said you have to meet me to really know. but but yeah, so I think with everybody, anybody that says they fully know who they are,
Mm.
I don't think that's true. I think you haven't
I
discovered how you
agree.
would react to something else one day, and then you realize that there's a different part of you that you didn't know about. So yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, not
absolutely.
very good answer, but you know.
No, it's your answer. And the thing is, you're absolutely right. You never know. I'm always learning things about myself.
Mm,
And when you're open to learning about yourself, there's always something to learn. Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
Like people
Hmm.
will say, "Oh, I'm an expert on myself." Well, you are in some senses, but the other side to that is we're always learning, we're always
Hmm.
growing, and we
Hmm.
haven't experienced all the experiences yet and never will. So we don't know how we will
Exactly.
react. And perimenopause and menopause really, if it does nothing else, it teaches you. But we will
Oh
talk
yes.
about. So, Celia, what's your heritage? Where are your parents from?
So I'm Nigerian. My both my parents are from Nigeria.
Hmm.
My father is from Lagos. My mother is from a state called Abeokuta.
Hmm.
So they're both Nigerian, both Yoruba. But I was born in England. I was born in London, and then moved to Nigeria, and came back to England again, and then went back to Nigeria again, and then came back to England again. So, so I've had the best of both worlds.
Hmm.
I've lived in both countries through different stages of life. Primary school, secondary school, university has been half and half. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, so I'm British Nigerian or Nigerian British.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so yeah, that's my heritage.
What's the best bit of Nigeria and the best bit of the UK?
The food in Nigeria
Uh-huh.
is the best bit. The
Hmm.
people, the people. So I love Nigerians. As much as you
Hmm.
can hear all sorts about Nigerians, they are the most interesting people, right?
Hmm.
You will, I, you go. It's either they frustrate you,
Yeah.
or they literally just make you happy. They, they just give you blossoming in your life.
Yes.
There's just. So I just love the people. I love the people.
Hmm.
I love the culture of respect with Nigerians. It's
Okay.
there's a bit of a balance with that, because when I got older, and
Mm.
because of the culture of respect, everybody started calling me auntie, and everybody started saying ma at the end of every sentence that they spoke to me, which is what you do in Nigeria. Good morning, ma. Thank you, ma. It's over there, ma. What did
Yeah.
you say, ma? That is a term of respect you use for older women. So when I started receiving that, I did not like it very much, because in my head, I'm still 21. So I'm speaking to someone who, as far as I'm concerned, we're peers. And she
Yeah.
says, "Good morning, ma." And all of a sudden I realized, actually I'm 20 years older than her. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so yes, yeah, we're not peers. But yeah, so I love the culture of respect, now that I'm starting to accept that I'm an older auntie. And the food. In
Yeah.
England, I would say I love
Okay.
the order, which is what you miss in Nigeria a lot of the time, is that ordering things, and where things follow a specific process, so this is
Mm.
how it's going to go. In Nigeria, you never know. You never know. There might be a process outlined, but you never know if that's the process that you're going to end up going through or not. It might be a completely different one, and they bring
Keeps you
that
on your
to every
toes.
country. Sorry.
It keeps you on your toes.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. But it's all very exciting. It's all very fun. Very fun people, very creative people. Very,
Uh-huh.
um, I mean, there's no skill that you wouldn't find in
Mm,
Nigeria.
I hear
They're
you.
just, yeah, they're just amazing people.
So, how old are you now? You talked about being called auntie. That did make me laugh.
I'm 51. I was 51
51.
on Sunday. I turned 51 on
Oh,
my
happy,
birthday.
happy, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Um, I've talked about being called an auntie before, and I was 45 at the time, and I absolutely, like, I didn't think they were talking to me, but I totally understand where you're coming from. And it is a thing that there's a wonderful woman on Instagram called Marvarine Cole, and she's on TikTok, and she did a whole thing on being called auntie by a taxi driver and how upset she was about it. Even
People
though she's
don't
in her 50s.
understand. It's almost traumatic. It's almost traumatic the first time you start to hear it, because in your
Mm,
head you don't see
yeah,
yourself as the auntie,
yeah,
and then somebody starts saying auntie, and you're like,
yeah. Yeah.
Is it me you
Yeah,
are
you're
talking
looking
to?
around. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
But it's
no.
a rite of passage, and when you recognise that, and the reason we're upset about it, I suppose, well, so I speak for myself, is its proximity to age and the negativity surrounding age. But actually, once you get your head around the fact that actually this is a sign of respect, I'm going to own this.
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
is easier, and you can embrace it. So yeah,
Mhm.
listen, I'm grandma, so we're good.
Oh no, I'm not there yet.
So, my dear, where are you? Well, I want to ask you actually about how you learned about menopause. Who taught you about menopause?
Instagram.
Okay, I sorted that out then.
Literally, that's where I learned. That was it.
Uh-huh.
Because when I started having symptoms, I had no idea what was
Hmm.
happening. I
Hmm.
had no
So,
idea.
what did you
Uh,
do?
um, well, first of all, when I started having hot flushes,
Mm,
I thought it was because I was drinking coffee. So I
okay.
thought, I thought the coffee is giving me hot flushes, or
Mm,
it's because I'm having too much sugar in my coffee. So I've got to reduce the sugar in my coffee. So I
okay.
kept trying to figure out what it was.
Mm,
I had no idea it was because I was early 40s when it
mhm,
started, and then I had joint pains. So my fingers, finger joints, and my feet would hurt. I'd get up in the morning, step on
mm,
and my feet would hurt. But as the day went on, the pain would go down a little bit. Every morning I woke up with joint pains, especially my fingers and my feet. And then once in a while, out of nowhere, my knee would start to hurt for
mm.
no reason. I hadn't hurt it, I hadn't hit it, nothing had happened. It would just start hurting.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, I've got arthritis.
Mm,
I'm
mm.
all trying to find the reasons for all these symptoms and giving
Yeah.
myself all these different diagnoses by myself. I got arthritis. Then I was like, oh, maybe it's diabetes. Oh,
Mm,
maybe lots of different things. And then one day it clocked, and I just said, I think I might be perimenopausal,
mm,
but I wasn't
mm.
sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe it might be that. But then I thought, well, I'm too young to be perimenopausal. I think I remember asking my mum, do you remember when you started menopause? And when you
Yeah.
ask one of these ethnic mothers, ah, it's like they never experienced menopause. They talk to you like, why are you complaining? What is it? But they look at you like, why are you making
Yeah.
such a big fuss about nothing? And they literally
Yeah.
can't remember stuff, you
Yeah.
know? The only thing my mum remembered was, oh yeah, she remembered having the bleeding, the excessive bleeding with the
Okay.
periods.
Okay.
And I've always had really bad periods ever since I started having periods. They've always been traumatic, really bad. I would throw up.
Oh, wow.
I'd throw up the whole of the first day. I wouldn't be able to eat anything because I would throw it up immediately. This was my
Yeah.
probably first and second day of every period. And the pain was incredible. I couldn't go to school on the first
Mm,
day,
mm,
it was just horrible. So having had that happen and then the excessive bleeding, when I got into my early 40s and I was in perimenopause and didn't know it, and the bleeding just ridiculous, I just
mm.
thought, oh, this is just me being me. Because the
Right.
bleeding improved after I had kids. It wasn't as bad. Things kind of settled a little bit after I had kids, but then it just started
Yeah.
getting worse again. And I was like, oh, I'm going back to having really bad periods, but this was worse than it had ever been. And I had no
Mm,
explanation for it. No explanation. It was very embarrassing. I'd once been at work. So I'm an optometrist as well. And so I'm sitting
okay.
down talking to a patient, and I
Mm,
can feel that I'm starting to get soaked. And
wow.
and what can
Wow.
you do? What can you do? You're sitting there, and in the end, I had to tell the woman. It was an older lady I was with, and I
Mm,
got off the chair and I said, "I'm really sorry. I've got to get up because I think I'm having, I'm bleeding and I'm soaking into my
mm,
clothes." Loveliest lady. She was so understanding. She actually took me out to go and
mm,
buy for me to go and buy myself a pair of trousers. Like she kept me
mm,
company. I went out to get a new pair of trousers,
mm.
and undies and stuff like that, and then I took her out to lunch to say thank you for keeping me company. But it's imagine having that happen to you if it wasn't somebody that understanding, how
Yeah.
horrible an experience that would have been. But that's what I was going through. I went through a point where I had to wear nappies. I couldn't wear
Mm,
pads. The tampons weren't enough. I was changing a tampon like every 20 minutes, the super,
Oh,
super plus. So I had to wear a nappy, not even a pad, a nappy. So it was just crazy. And still at this point, I'm still thinking it's just periods. No
isn't that
idea that it's
interesting?
part of, yeah, no
Isn't that
idea it was part
interesting? Because you've described having traumatic periods since you start. When did you start your periods?
of
How old
12,
were you? Right. So
12.
you've described decades of traumatic periods, and it's just been a case of, oh, well, this is
Live
just
with
the
it.
way it is. Did
Yeah,
anybody at any point say to you, this isn't normal?
no,
This isn't the way it should be.
no.
Let's go to the doctors. Let's get you some help. Did
The only time I
what
went
were
to the
doctors
doctor,
saying?
the only time I went to the doctor was when I was 14 and the pain was so bad that I had to miss school and I was throwing up and I
Mm.
was limp and weak, couldn't eat for that I was taken to the doctor and the doctor, I remember this was in Nigeria. I was 14, I was in Nigeria. I just moved to Nigeria at this point. And the doctor said, when you start having sex, you'll find that the pain will reduce. I was 14.
Oh my God.
And I said, well, obviously that's not going to happen. So he prescribed me some painkillers. I have no idea what those painkillers were. They were so strong,
Mm,
it could have been morphine. They were so strong, but the way my periods were with the throwing up,
mm.
even if I took a painkiller, I would throw it up. So
Yeah,
it was very
yeah,
difficult for me to even take medication because everything came up. So the one time that it went down, the pain went. I was surprised how quickly it
yeah.
worked. And the pain
Mm.
went. But nobody talked about how it's not normal for you to have this kind of pain.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
prescribed me tablets. It's not normal
And
for you
told
to
a
feel this much.
14-year-old that
It'll get better
get
when you
on with
start
it
having
until
sex.
you have sex, which is
Yeah.
really dodgy information, by the way.
Very, very dodgy
That is
information.
not good
Very
advice
dodgy information.
for
Not at
anyone.
all. No, no.
Wow.
I remember hearing that thinking,
So was your mum with you? Was your mum with you at the time?
she was.
What did she what was her reaction?
She just sat there, listened.
Oh.
Because I mean, it's part of the culture. It's part of the
Mm,
culture where the doctor is high and mighty, and you
mm,
can't question anything he says. You can't speak back, and
mm,
women are made to feel like they don't have a voice. So they just keep quiet. And you'll find that as a girl child in Nigeria, you will go through so many different things where you need protection and you would
mm,
expect that a parent would protect you, but your mother can't really protect you because she's also a victim, or she's been a victim and she is still a victim where she has to be quiet.
mm.
So there's so many things. And so at this point she was quiet.
Yeah.
She couldn't say anything, and I looked at her, she couldn't say anything. Obviously I can't say anything, and all she
Mm,
could say was, can you give her some pain medication,
yeah.
which is what, yeah, gave me the pain medication. That was it. But
There's
but
so
I
many.
suffered all my life with periods, and no one ever said. And because you don't talk about it,
Yeah.
it wasn't something that you'd sit with your friends and chat. What was your period like today? What was it like
Mm,
last month? You don't talk about it,
yeah.
or you don't come out in conversation and mention it.
Mm,
So you just think that whatever you're going through is normal. But
yeah.
I'm now at the point where I talk to people about it all the time. Like if I have a patient who's a teenager, I'll say to her, "Do you have heavy periods?" Because I want them to know it's okay to talk about it in a normal
Yeah.
way as part of the conversation. It's not
Yeah.
taboo. Um, so it's just one of those things where you just think that it's normal. You get on with it. So when the peri-menopause started, you just get on with it. You think this is just another part of the norm for you, and you just
Mm.
keep suffering and suffering.
And what I love about you, I mean, I came across you not that long ago, actually, but you were sharing because you have a healthy following on Instagram and TikTok, although I dip in and out of TikTok. And you had posted something, or maybe somebody sent it to me, and you were talking about perimenopause. And
Mhm.
the comment section, it was gold.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about, first of all, what motivated you to start talking about perimenopause, perimenopause, as opposed to all the other things you talk about, because you're very funny.
Thank
But
you.
also how you felt. Oh no, you are. You know this, or how you felt when you saw and you realised that you touched that this was resonating.
So I started talking about it because I just talk about anything. I'm one of these. I'm a sharer. I'm an oversharer. Yeah, I spent many nights brushing my teeth for 10 minutes because I'm thinking about all the things I shouldn't have said today before I go to bed. I'm there like, why did I say that? Oh gosh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm an idiot. I said that. So I'm an oversharer, and I'm trying to learn how to just,
Well, it
and so on
stands you in
social
good stead. People love that you overshare. And I think, people, it's almost like we want somebody else to overshare so that we can kind of, it connects with us. But sorry,
media.
go on.
Yeah, I agree because I feel like so many people feel like I've had people tell me that I share
Mm,
too much on social media. I've
mm.
had people tell me that, and I say, "Do you realize that what I'm sharing is helping someone? The fact that I've
Yes.
shared something that to you seems like I should have kept private,
Mm,
that person is suffering with something and she's keeping it private. But now she's heard what I've said, and she realizes that she doesn't need to keep it private. She can get help.
yes.
So if it's not hurting you, it's not hurting anyone, it's not hurting me, then why shouldn't I share it? So people
Mhm,
know that I have menopause, so what? So people know that I bleed, so what? So,
mm,
I don't care. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone, then I
mm.
share. So yeah, so I just thought I'm just gonna share about this because it's something I'm going through, and I tell people about stuff, and I talked about it, and it's just I started to realize that we're all the same. We're all the same. We're all going through all these things and we're just keeping it to ourselves. We're not talking about it and suffering.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, it's a good idea for me to just talk about it. Let me just talk about it. If anytime I want to say something about it, I say something about it. It's like I talk about ADHD as well, because people don't talk about it in our culture. You don't talk
Mm,
about mental health issues in our culture. It's quiet. You don't talk about it. And then there's somebody there suffering because nobody's talking about it. And so they can't get help. So, I find that if I had seen somebody else posting about their symptoms of perimenopause, I would have realized long before that all the
yes.
symptoms I was having was from perimenopause, and it
Yeah.
wasn't this or that arthritis and this that diagnosing myself all sorts of things, where
Yeah.
all along it was just the perimenopause.
Yeah.
Also the brain fog was crazy, and
Tell me more.
I just thought it's part of my ADHD. Oh, my
Right.
ADHD is getting worse.
Mm,
I stopped taking medication for a while because I thought I could cope with it, and I was coping. But as soon as I hit perimenopause, I had to go back to the doctors. I'm like, I don't understand. I need the medication again because I'm really struggling again. With work, trying to stay focused, and I didn't know it was because of the menopause that the
yes.
ADHD was
And did
getting
the
worse.
doctor say, "Oh, this will be menopause"? You're talking about ADHD medication, right?
Yes,
So the
yeah.
doctor didn't say, "Oh, well, this be exacerbated because estrogen, yada yada." He didn't say
I
that.
don't think they
They
even
didn't say
know.
that.
I don't think they even know.
Gee.
I don't think
Yeah.
they know. There's
Yeah.
so many things that doctors don't know about ADHD,
Yeah.
and how it's affected in women especially.
Mm, mm.
There's so many things they don't know that you have to do your own research and go and
Yeah.
tell them. So every time I
Yeah.
go to a doctor, I've done my research, then I go to the doctors and I tell them, so right, this and this is this and this is that and this is what I want you to do. That's in this. And then they, and then they sit there and they go, yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah, and we will do that. I'm like, I know I'm right. That's why I'm here. If I didn't know I was right, I wouldn't have come here.
Shout out Celia's doctor. I
Because
will
I
say that's the best advice. That is the advice that doctors give, that and menopause specialists give, is that you do your own research and then you go and you tell the doctor,
can tell them.
and don't take no for an answer, because
Yes,
even if it isn't for you, you won't know until you try it.
exactly.
So even though it
And they
feels
should
like
they should
your
tell you
doctor
if it
probably,
isn't for you. They should be able
yeah,
to tell you. Like if I go to you and I say, this is what I want, this is what I think I need. I've done my research, this is what I think I need. So prescribe
mm,
that. And the doctor says, well, actually, this is not ideal for you because
mm,
you have high blood pressure. So we will
right,
know that. I'm like, oh, true. Okay, what do you suggest? But at least it gets the conversation going and it helps the
yes,
doctor to be
yeah,
able to decide what to do. Because so many times I've been and they've not realized what was wrong with me. and they've,
Mm,
and there's been no action, or the action has been wrong. So
yeah.
now I'm prepared, So
Mm, yeah. You said that earlier you were talking about the fact that, people, we don't talk about periods. We're not going to sit down and say, how was your period last night? That kind of thing.
mm.
But you're obviously talking more about menopause now. Who else are you discussing besides, the internet? Did you discuss your menopause with anybody else?
I discussed it with a couple of friends.
Mm.
There was one friend that I said, I think I'm menopausal. And she said, You're not, can you be menopausal? You're not menopausal. Obviously, a Nigerian friend. It's not menopause. You just need a man to, to service you well. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. But that was that was what she thought my problem was. And I said, Oh, I didn't realize that a lack of, physical intimacy can lead to hot flushes and joint pains and brain fog. She's like, how can you be menopausal? You're only 40 something. You're only 11. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, well, maybe you're right. I don't know, but I really feel that I am. And still, I didn't go to the doctors.
Ah.
I still didn't go because I wasn't sure. I didn't want to go embarrass myself and say I'm menopausal, I'm perimenopausal,
Mm,
because I was still having periods. And they
yeah.
always tell you this thing that menopause is when your period has stopped and you haven't bled in what, two
Yeah.
years. Uh,
No.
you-
So you can be perimenopause can start any time from your early 40s onwards. And
Mhm,
actually, you can have early perimenopause as well. And some
mhm.
people have started. It's rare, but some people start their perimenopause much much earlier. But
Mhm.
you'll be bleeding all up until that time. And
Yeah.
menopause is there 1 year, so 12 months without a period, and the day after that, that's menopause, and after that, you're postmenopausal. There's
Yes.
some debate around it all being called menopause. Let's not argue about the
They
term.
should
The
call it
fact of the
all
matter
one
is,
thing. Hmm.
yeah, the fact of the matter is, no period, 1 year. You know,
Even that, even like I like being different, I like being I like being different because I had no period for over 2 years. So that says, oh, menopause,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
then I went, oh, okay, I'm menopausal now, I'm in menopause now. I'm gonna ask for HRT.
yeah.
Because they make you feel like you can only get HRT when you're in menopause, right?
But
What
then,
that is what I felt. That's what I thought.
yeah.
So I was like, right, now that it's been now, okay, now I want HRT. Started on
Mm,
HRT and started bleeding again. Started having
mm,
periods again. So now I'm
mm,
panicking. Oh gosh, is it uterine cancer? Is it what's going on? I shouldn't be bleeding after 2 years. What's this? And had to go
mm,
to get scans done and all
mm.
of this. And the doctor said, maybe your ovaries have just woken up again. And that was
Sorry.
his answer.
So, okay, okay. Let's just get some stuff straight, shall we? Um, that can happen. So, from my own experience, first of all, you can take hormone replacement therapy, and the common wisdom advice is that actually it's better to start taking HRT during perimenopause. Okay, so you don't
Yeah,
have to wait until you've had no periods for however many years.
exactly.
I will say that I started taking, and the other side to that is you can take um, hormone therapy up to 10 years after your last period. So I started my HT journey when I was 58. And that was, or 59. And that was 9 years, 8 and 9 years after I'd finished my last period. I wanted to see
Okay.
what all the fuss was about. But I will say, after a year of taking it, I also started to bleed and I panicked and I did the same thing. I thought, oh my God, I've got cancer,
Yeah,
I've got
yeah,
this. And I went to the doctors and the doctor advised, I had an ultrasound and it came back clear.
yeah.
And then the doctor advised me to lessen my dosage. So I'm now on, I take Sandrina, which is a sachet, and I was on 2 sachets. I'm now on 1 sachet, and it went away. So, but the thing is, your body is getting used to whatever it is you're putting into it, and
Yeah.
so the advice is just make sure you get to a doctor, but please don't panic. So,
Yes.
I update us because we're all interested now. Where are you now on your menopause journey and your HT journey, and how does that affect your ADHD meds? That's a lot of questions.
Oh
Answer
yeah.
any or all of them.
So where I am on the journey is that I'm now on the patches. So I've got estrogen patch,
Okay.
which stays on. The first
Yeah.
one I had never stayed on. This stays on. And I have progesterone in the evenings.
Okay.
So because of the bleeding, what the doctor said was, I have to say, when I first went to the doctor about wanting HRT, it was a female doctor. She was very supportive. She was very good. She
Okay.
told me to go and watch the Davina McCall documentary on
Okay.
menopause and
Okay.
everything. She
Sex,
actually
miss, and
recommended it.
menopause. Yeah.
Yeah, she was very good. She told me all the different options and stuff. So I started on it, and so I'm on the patch, and I have two progesterones in the evenings, which is supposed to, for I think it's 13 days. So I'm on the cycle with it. So basically,
Right.
it's
Okay.
making me have a period every month.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Rather than stopping it altogether, because the
Mm.
doctor says it appears that you still need to bleed. So,
Yeah.
because of the estrogen, if I lower the estrogen, the
Yeah.
symptoms come back.
Right.
So
Okay.
I don't want the hot flushes and the pains and stuff like that. So
Mm.
I think I chose to have monthly bleeds rather
Yeah.
than the other symptoms.
Yeah.
Um, with the ADHD, I the HRT definitely affects the HR the ADHD medication, the effectiveness of it.
Okay.
Because yeah, I stopped using the HRT for a couple of months at one point because I had surgery. I
Yeah.
stopped using the HRT, and then in that interim, I went back on my ADHD medication.
Mm.
And then after a while, I went back onto the HRT. As soon as I
Mhm.
started my HRT, I realized that my ADHD medication wasn't as effective anymore.
Okay.
And I can always tell how effective it is based
Mm.
on how focused I am,
Yeah.
and also based on how much I think about food.
Oh,
Because when I'm thinking about food, it's me looking for stimulation. I'm looking for something to stimulate my. It's me looking for
ah,
stimulation. So if I'm looking for a snack
yeah.
so often, I'm looking for
Mm.
stimulation. That's how I
Mm.
know that the medication is not working. So when the
Wow.
HRT started, I'm like, I'm looking for food again. And I told
Right.
them this, and they said, well, they couldn't do anything about the dosage. I'd have to go back and start the whole process again of getting
Mm.
referred back to reassess my ADHD medication. But it definitely has an effect. I did my research and found out that yes, HRT hormones can affect the effectiveness of ADHD medication as well. So yeah,
Right.
so it's one of those things where you don't realize what's affecting what until you start experiencing it, and then you start doing research about it, and then you realize, oh gosh, that's another thing I've got to deal with. There's nothing I've got to go and teach the doctor and say, oh, right, here's another thing, right? My HRT, right, is affecting my ADHD. Sort
Yeah.
it out. So you have to, yeah,
Yeah. And the problem, of course, is that there isn't enough clinical research because
no,
we're only just really, in the grand scheme of things, starting
yeah,
to research menopause, let alone the nuances of how menopause affects different groups, whether it's cultural groups, whether it's ethnicities, whether it's people on different meds, for example, long-term illnesses,
yes.
ADHD. Can I ask how old you were when you were diagnosed? Was it a new
I
diagnosis
think
or an old one?
I think I was 41, 42. So it was when
So quite
perimenopause
late.
started. It was
Right.
that because that's when it became worse. That's when it became so bad that I was struggling. I was struggling a lot. So I was diagnosed in my early 40s. So it
And
coincided with perimenopause.
what made you think I need to go and get an ADHD diagnosis? That's a great response. It's not a trick question.
It's really strange. What happened was I was doing some housework,
Ah,
and the phone rang. So I
mm,
quickly went into the living room. I was in the kitchen cleaning up the kitchen. Went into the living room, answered the phone, finished the phone call, and
mm,
went onto the laptop and started doing stuff on the laptop.
mm,
And I was on the laptop for about 2 hours,
mm.
and then decided that I was thirsty or I needed a snack or something. So I got up to go to the kitchen to get a snack. and walked into this, what looked like a bomb site, because I had about 8 different tasks half
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
The dishwasher was open, half filled. Washing
Mm.
machine was open, half filled. The dining table was half wiped. The floor was half swept. The counter was half. Everything was half done. And I looked at it. I was like, "Why are you doing this? Like acting like someone with ADHD?" That's literally what I said to myself. And then the light
I
bulb went off.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
"Oh," and that's what triggered me. That then I went to the doctors and I said, "I think I may have ADHD." And I said, one of the reasons is not just because of, all that I just mentioned. I said, also, I said, I know I'm an intelligent person, but
Yeah.
lately I feel really stupid. I
Mm.
feel like I've lost my intelligence. I feel like my IQ is dropping. I
Mm.
feel like I'm not understanding things or remembering things or absorbing things or focusing. Like I just feel like I'm not intelligent anymore. Like I
Oh.
used to be really intelligent, and
Mm.
I just don't like the fact that I feel like I'm not myself anymore,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
the first time I went to the doctors about it, the doctor said, or the first time I went to the doctor about symptoms, I didn't know it was ADHD.
Yeah.
I said, I'm forgetting things a lot.
Mm.
And my mother's worried because she says, I'm always leaving stuff and forgetting I've left it there. I'm starting things and not finishing them and all
Mm.
this stuff. And the doctor said, "Oh, well, it's expected. You have 2 young children. You're a single mother. It's expected that you will be forgetful." Thanks.
Honestly.
So just go off and live with it. Don't complain, you single mom.
Wow. Wow.
You should be forgetful. You should be, disorganized. You should be absent-minded because you're a single mother of 2 kids
Mm.
and you also have a job.
Yeah.
So you should be. There was
Yeah.
no, "Oh, let's try and figure out what it is." Because I've come to you saying that I'm worried about this. If I'm
Yeah.
all, it's not because I'm like, why? It's not
Yeah.
normal. I see other single moms. I see other
Mm.
moms that they don't go through this.
Mm.
And that's how that was fobbed off.
Wow.
That was
So
fobbed
you
off.
obviously didn't take that.
Well, I did at that time because it was a few
Right.
years later that I went back to say that
Right.
I think I have ADHD. So at
Mm.
that point, I went back to say, I think I have ADHD. At that first time, I didn't know what it was. I was just concerned that I couldn't remember things. I was absent minded. I was,
Yeah.
the brain fog and all of that.
Mm.
I didn't realize that the perimenopause is what was triggering it to get worse.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. I just
Yeah.
went with, these are the symptoms I'm experiencing and I need help. And I was told, go, just live with it. It's normal for your situation.
Wow. The lack of empathy.
Mm,
It's wild. And
mm.
I'm glad that you are so, even though you went back 2 years later, you went back,
Yes.
and it's just a shame
Well,
that
I
in
had
those
to.
years you still had to suffer. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know?
I had to. My work was suffering, and I'm in a profession where I'm dealing with people's health.
Yeah.
It's their ocular health, which is linked to their life.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
realized that I would be in the middle of an eye examination,
Mm.
looking at somebody's eye, examining their eyes on the slit lamp, and
Mm.
my mind is just gone. By the time
Yeah.
I've put the slit lamp to the side and I want to write the notes of what I've examined, I can't remember. I literally
Yeah.
can't remember. So I have to make an excuse and say, "Oh, I've just got to quickly check something again," which is embarrassing. You don't do that as a professional. "Oh,
Yeah.
I've got to quickly check this again. I've got to do the whole check again and write it down." Or I'd be asking the patient questions. I remember one lady, I said, "So are you experiencing any headaches?" And she said, "Apart from the one I just told you about, no."
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, that's
So
embarrassing. Yeah.
that is embarrassing. So that was the point where I was like, yeah, I need to go and get this sorted out. And
And
I
it's so
actually stopped work.
sad.
I gave up work for three
Yeah.
months after that.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I just felt like I wasn't safe. I wasn't safe. If
Okay.
I'd missed something in someone's eye, if I'd missed a tumor or
Mm.
swelling that could have indicated a brain tumor because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. I want to get more into um, work in terms of, as in your day job. If you're listening to this and you are enjoying this episode and this wonderful conversation with the lovely Celia, who has been very honest about her journey, um, we have more episodes, and we are on YouTube, on Spotify, on Audible, on Apple. Please like and subscribe this. Share it with your friends. We need to reach the ears that really need to hear these conversations. Back to you, Celia.
Yep.
So, your work colleagues, how do they know about? I mean, they know you, but do they know about your journey, your menopause, and how have they supported you? Have they supported you?
I talk about it, if it comes up in conversation, I don't hide it. So yeah, anywhere I work, I don't hide it. I make fun of it all the time. If
Mm,
someone says, "Oh, sorry, forgive me, I'm menopausal,"
mm,
so I'm open about it. I don't hide it.
right,
But I haven't had anyone be unsupportive or anything like that. I haven't had a need for any special measures based on
right.
the
Is,
menopause.
is there a
So
menopause? Do they have a menopause work a policy, or I don't know whether it's a small
not
place
anywhere
or
I've ever worked. So I'm self-employed. So I work
right.
in different places, but none of the places that I've worked at has a menopause policy. I spoke to a patient actually who said
Yeah.
her workplace has a menopause policy. And I was like, what is really? I was
Mm,
shocked because I'd never heard of it.
mm,
I'd never
mm,
heard of it. And I was really impressed. It was
yeah.
really good. But yeah, before that, I'd never heard of it.
Mm.
Never.
Would you want? Would that be something that you'd be interested in, or is it a case of I just deal with it? Do you know what I mean?
I would be interested in it because
Yeah.
there are things that I've dealt with in the last few months, which is
Right.
related more to the ADHD,
Mm.
but the ADHD is affected by the menopause as well.
Yeah.
So they,
Mm.
they, they work together, like each of them separately together. They do the same, you have the same symptoms, a lot of the same
Mm.
symptoms. And then both together is like a double whammy. So
Mm.
there are things that I have requested based on
Yeah.
the ADHD from
Mm.
workplaces that they have refused
Right.
because it's going to affect the business, which basically
Right.
means they're going to lose money. So
Hmm.
asking for, say, can I have 15 minutes at the end of the day for
Yeah.
me to do some catch up stuff because I'm
Yeah.
seeing patient after patient after patient after patient and I can get overwhelmed and
Mm.
I just need a little bit of time at the end of the day just to do the catch up of all the other things, referrals, whatever. And they refused because it will affect the business.
15 minutes. That's
Yeah.
wild.
15 minutes, 20 minutes, that it will
Yeah.
affect the business.
Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
affect the business.
So we really
So
need a situation where workplace menopause policies in workplaces, large and small, are just the norm.
it
You
should be
know.
the norm. It
Yeah.
should be the norm
Yeah.
because you're ignoring a vital part of a woman's life and
Mm.
something that affects her productivity.
Yeah.
If you gave her special measures so that she can do the best of her ability, you benefit from that as well.
Yeah.
And then so it just makes sense.
Yeah. And it's not even special measures. It's humanity.
True.
It's
Exactly.
understanding humans and wanting to get the
Exactly.
best out of humans because it works better for the business in the long run.
The,
And I
the
wish
problem
more
is,
people would get
sorry,
that.
go on.
No, go on. Go on.
The problem is women have just dealt with it for so long that everybody
Mm,
expects that everybody should just continue to deal with it. Women have silently dealt with
mm,
all the issues that menopause
mm,
has caused them and
mm,
continued working, continued, giving results,
mm.
doing their best, working harder so that they can produce those results.
Yeah.
And so it's expected now. So if you come out and say, "Oh, I want something because of the menopause," they're like,
Mm,
"Why? Why?
yeah.
What's her name? Julie, who is 68 and is retiring in 2 years. She's been working here for the last 40 years and never asked for any kind of menopause um, policy. What do you
Yeah.
want? You, these Gen X people wanting menopause, whatever.
Yeah. No disrespect for any Julies listening.
No disrespect to any Julies. Well, no, it's not disrespect because the Julies have been working
No,
hard and not complaining.
I hear you.
That's,
I hear you.
it's much respect to the Julies.
But
They've been
when are
working
we
hard and not
ever
complaining.
when are women but this is the thing, this is patriarchy, isn't it? When are
Mm.
women have women ever been, encouraged to look after ourselves unless it was to directly benefit the male species. But I will also say that more and more people who are reaching menopause are going, nah, we're not doing this. And I honestly have lots of hope for
Good.
the millennials and the Gen, whatever those
Oh,
letters
yeah, I know.
you know,
I always mix them up. I don't know
because
which
they
one
are
it
not
is.
going to take any
They're not
shit.
going to take it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. They're not going to
So
take it.
and it's because people like you, people like me, people, who are going through perimenopause and menopause now are going, yeah, we're not doing this. So
Hmm.
thank you for that. What have been your most fascinating symptoms? You mentioned quite a few, to be fair. But what of them are you thinking, really? Is this a thing?
I think the hair loss.
Okay.
The hair
Tell
loss.
us
I didn't know
more.
it was menopause or perimenopause
Mm.
either at the time. I thought it was the lady who did my hair. She did crochet braids. And when I took the crochet braids out, my hair was falling out ever since then. So I in my head, I said, that woman is a witch. That was a witch. She did my hair and put spell on my head because she's jealous of my hair. Because she commented about how nice my hair was.
Uh-huh.
So she's jealous of my hair. So she put a spell on my hair. And ever since, my hair's been falling out. So I blamed it on her, but actually it was perimenopause. My hair was,
Okay.
I was gradually thinning. So that's been the one that I never even knew was related. Like I knew about hot flushes, even though when I
Mm.
had it, I didn't know it was perimenopause. But I knew that menopause brought hot flushes.
Mm.
But I didn't know about the hair loss.
Yeah.
So that one, that yeah, that was annoying.
And
For,
when you
for
realised that it wasn't that poor, you know,
the hairdresser,
hairstylist, what
I never went back.
what what did you do? How did you no, I want to know how you felt actually. And then tell me what
um,
you did.
I felt like there's nothing I can do about it because it's
Right.
menopause, perimenopause, hair
Yeah.
loss. So there's nothing I can do about it. It's just going to keep going. I'm going to try and use all different products and spend so much money on all these products to try and
Mm.
stop my hair from shedding, but it's still going to shed. That I just felt
Mm.
helpless. I just felt helpless every time in the shower when I wash my hair and I have this big clump comes out. I just sit there and think, very soon I'll be bald. I'll be bald, and I'm always shocked that I still have hair on my head when I wash my hair in the shower. Every time hair comes, I'm like, how is it I still have my hair must grow really
Yeah.
fast? 'Cause how is it I still have hair? So my hair is growing, but then
Yeah.
it's shedding. So
Yes.
how is it I still
Yeah.
have hair on my head? I used to have such thick, full hair.
Yeah.
And I just thought eventually I'm gonna be bald. I was like, thank God for wigs. Just get some nice wigs, you know.
What else has helped you?
Apart from the HRT.
Apart from well, hey, the thing is that HT isn't a fix all. It fixes a lot of
Yeah,
things.
yeah, not
But is
everything.
there anything else? I know you're still on your journey and you're still finding out, for example, finding out about what will help your hair, what will help, is there anything that you've
Exactly.
done that is helping?
Yes. So, well, to help me mentally is finding people like you
Okay.
who's talking about menopause. There's another doctor that I follow who's a menopause doctor.
Hmm.
So watching her videos as well. So it just helps you feel validated, to
Yeah.
know that you're not overreacting,
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, I have this symptom." She makes you feel like you people make us feel like, look, talk about it. It's yeah, it's
Yes.
what you're saying is valid. You're not complaining. You're talking about what you're
Mm.
experiencing. So it gives
Yeah.
me the confidence to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Good.
and then and it's just listening to things like that, and also trying to find. I have so many people on my social media that I call my cousins. I call them my cousins.
Uh-huh.
So I have so many cousins, and they are always sending me recommendations. All I need to do is put one post up like, my hair is
Yeah.
falling out. What can I use?
Yeah.
And they will send me all the different recommendations. Or my skin,
Fantastic.
which is another thing that's been changing. They'll send me all the different recommendations. So
Mhm.
that I find really, really good, really helpful. And people just come into the DMs and talk about it with me as well. So that's really helpful as well. So I think everything, that's why I said it's all from social media, it's all from Instagram. I started learning about it on Instagram. I started getting support on it on Instagram. I started
Mm.
gaining, you know, people like you in,
Yeah.
meeting you from Instagram. So it's social media that's
Yeah.
helped me, you know.
Has there been any negatives to you speaking out? Is there anybody still kind of like, why are you talking about this? Why are you oversharing? Why, no?
Yeah. People who
Good.
say that, I've had a few people who've said I'm oversharing stuff. It's not just about the menopause, about anything.
Yeah.
Um, they think I'm oversharing. There was one
Mm,
person who thought that I was crying in one of my videos.
mm,
And it was a video where I was talking about how women of a certain age in their 40s and 50s, we don't have representation on social media.
yeah.
We don't really get approached by beauty brands. We
Mm,
don't get, why are you ignoring us?
mm,
We have the disposable income to
mm,
spend on these products that's going to help us with our menopausal skin, our
mm,
menopausal hair. We want that help, but you ignore us. You're using all the beautiful young model
mm.
looking ladies for everything. and
Yeah.
and in the video, it was a brief expression of like, and she thought I was crying. I was like, I wasn't crying. It's like, you're sharing too much. And I was like, but I wasn't crying, it was just an expression.
Mm,
um
mm.
and there's always, I feel like there's always people who say you're sharing too much, and people who are very judgmental,
Yeah.
because if you're sharing something that inevitably will help somebody else, then it's not
Yeah.
too much.
Mm.
It's not too much, and it's giving
Yeah.
somebody the permission to be able to share what they're going through as well.
Yeah.
It's not too
Yeah.
much. So
And
anyone who says
also,
that to me, I know
mm,
you're a hater.
yeah. Yeah. That's a great. I wish people listening and who aren't watching this on YouTube could see the face that you made because it's perfect. This little sneer.
Yeah,
But I think also it helps people to work through shame because shame keeps us quiet. And so when someone
exactly.
else is brave enough, because it is courageous to talk about their own life and open up the cringy bits, it
Yeah.
can actually, it obviously makes us feel, a lot better. Do
Yes.
you now? You have two jobs because you are a international TikToker and social media human, and you run events and you do a lot, and you're
Yeah.
also looking in people's eyes. That's just dumbed
Yeah.
down all the education we ever had, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you have a routine? How do you? And do you have ADHD? Let's just add that.
I have
And you're
ADHD. I have no
perimenopausal,
routine.
and you have
There's
two
no
kids.
routine. And I have
So
two kids. I have
how
no
do you how do
routine.
you plan your days? How do you plan your weeks? Like, what do you
I just,
do?
whatever happens, happens. That's literally how my day is. Whatever happens,
Mm.
happens. It's like,
But
take
it's
it or
working.
leave it. Take it. People say, oh, with the events that I'm so organized, you do so well. I was like, I don't know how. I literally do. I think it's because it's just such a passion. I love it so much, but
Right.
I don't understand how it's that organized, because
Yeah.
even with my optometry, there's been times where I've had a phone call and I'm just in my pajamas. Hi, Celia, are you on your way in? Eh? Ah, yeah, I'll be there soon. I'm supposed to be at work. There are times when I've gone into work and I wasn't supposed to be at work. What are you
Oh
doing here,
my
Celia? I'm
goodness.
like, am I not working today? No, you're not. Oh, okay. Bye. So I'm not an organized person, and I used to really beat myself up about it until I found out I
Mm.
had ADHD. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not organized. Everything's just, and things come into your brain all the time. So
Yeah.
you always go to that thing that jumps into your brain first. You
Mm.
don't,
Mm.
I tried a routine. I had
Mm.
I have about 28 alarms per day on my phone for different things that I need to do to try and do this routine. And
Yeah.
yesterday, my daughter said, your alarms are driving me crazy because they keep going off and you just ignore every single one of them. You don't even look at them. You don't even do what they say. You ignore every single one. What's the point? I was like,
Oh dear.
I've got an alarm that says spend time with the girls,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
because I will get so wrapped up in what I'm doing
Mm.
that the whole day can go and I haven't spent time with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
But
literally
that
had to set
is
myself an alarm.
you talk about I used to say that I wasn't organized, and I clearly am because I get to places and I do things and I'm doing things. And I think we can sometimes get wedded to uh, um, a label for ourselves. But the act of putting those 28 alarms, that's, a lot.
The
But
hours.
the act of putting those into your phone and knowing that you need to do that is a way of organizing yourself. So I hope you're
I
not,
don't listen to them.
don't beat yourself up. I think it's a brilliant idea, and
I'm
more people
trying.
should take advantage of the technology that we have in our hand. How do you
Yes.
celebrate yourself, Celia?
Oh gosh. I think I should do that more. I don't think I do that enough,
Hmm. Hmm.
because that's one question yeah, I don't think I do that enough. I would say I think I even shy away from it. I don't even let people celebrate me so much.
Ooh.
And I'm not sure why. Part of me doesn't like to be center of attention, but the other
Mm.
part of me loves being center of attention.
Yeah.
So it's a weird, juxta, whatever the English
Position.
is. Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
like, my birthday came, and all the ladies on my WhatsApp group didn't
Mm.
know. Like, oh, you kept that one quiet, because we all met up
Wow.
on the Saturday. They
Yeah.
didn't realize my birthday was the next day. They kept that one
Mm.
quiet. We should have sang happy birthday to you. I was like, that's what I didn't want. I don't want
Mm.
that. So yeah, it's strange. I think sometimes I will like just buy myself something expensive. I don't know if that counts.
Hey, it totally counts. It totally counts. What's your go-to thing to buy?
A
Just out of
new
interest.
car.
Oh, you meant you didn't mean expensive. You meant expensive.
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 Expensive. It's
I
whenever
was
my car
thinking, I was
finance is
thinking,
about
oh, a
to.
nice watch or a bag.
Ah,
No,
well,
my
it's
girl's
when my
gone.
car
Oh,
finance is about to come to an end. My PCP or whatever it is. When it's about to come to an end, and I'm like, okay, now I need to get another car. Should I just get should I just get a cheaper car, pay less because interest rates have gone up and the price
mm,
is going to be higher?
mm.
Or should I go and get a better car? And I'm like, you know what? You haven't given yourself a birthday present in 4 years. So just do.
My advice, and this will might make you feel better or not, is that we have to celebrate ourselves. And it's more important as we get older because so many people we know did not make it or have the privilege to make it to our age. So
Sure.
you're doing everybody a service selflessly if
Mm.
you celebrate yourself outwardly or inwardly, but certainly making sure that you do so much. You are responsible for two whole humans, and there are lots of people who look to you for laughter, for joy, for honesty, um, and you're helping others. So buy the expensive car, please.
Ride expensive cars.
Which tune? You strike me as a dancer. Which tune instantly makes you want to dance?
Any 90s Usher hit.
Okay. Okay.
Any
Well,
any
that's
of his
easy.
90s hits.
That's
Yeah.
easy. Well, we have
Yeah.
a Menopause Whilst Black season 8 Spotify playlist, and that will go on this the minute we stop recording. So, Celia, we have come to the end. I really shouldn't sing. What's the one piece of advice you would give to anyone listening to us right now? I mean, you can say anything. You're going to say anything. I can feel it. I feel you're a wild card.
Ah! I don't swear, so I won't swear.
You mean you don't swear, or do you mean you
I
don't
don't
think you
swear.
can
I
swear?
don't swear.
Okay.
I don't swear
Okay.
anyway. Only in my head sometimes. Um, well, what I would say is, if it doesn't feel normal, then it isn't. If it
Ah.
doesn't feel normal to you, then it isn't.
Mm,
Right?
mm,
If it doesn't feel comfortable
mm,
to you, if you can't live your life relatively comfortably
mm.
with your symptoms, then it isn't normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And go and see someone about it.
Mm,
Don't just say, oh, well, symptoms some of them are, they're not serious. They might not be related to menopause, but Some of them are, and there's so many symptoms related to menopause that you wouldn't have known, you wouldn't know if we didn't watch you or other people who talk about it.
Mm,
And don't just let people and doctors fob you off and tell you to just go and just live with it. You shouldn't
mm,
have to live with it. You
yeah.
know, shouldn't have to live with it. You should get help. Get the
Thank
help.
you. Thank you, Celia. Thank you so much. That was quite succinct. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. People, what have you got coming up? Have you got anything coming up? I mean, that's a trick question because that's so
Yeah.
strange. But anyway, tell us about where people can, you know, find
Find
you.
me. I'm on socials, like you said. So Celia
Mhm,
Toks on
mhm.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I also have a website called Gallivanting with Celia Toks, which is where all my events are. And I have lots of fun, wonderful, incredible events for women. And we meet up and we have the best time. We laugh, we talk about ourselves, our bodies, our partners, our children, our lives,
Mm.
everything. And we literally just have loads of fun. I have these speed friending events, which are so cool. It's like a
What's it
speed
called?
dating.
Speed friending.
Speed friending,
I've
yeah.
never
And
heard of that
it's like
before. That
speed
sounds great.
dating. It's like
Right.
speed dating for it's just women, and you have about 5 minutes per station to chat with the
Yeah.
lady, and then you move
Love it.
on. And then at
Love
the
it.
end, we have a meal and we chat. The amazing thing about all the events that I've
Mm.
had so far, it's incredible. I don't know how it happens. There's always at least one pair who meet each other who have known each other before,
Ah,
either from years ago, or
yeah.
went to the same school and didn't realize they went to the same school and then realized that they did. There's always some 6 degrees of separation. It's more like
Yeah.
2 degrees in these things. So it's crazy. It's always really fun to watch them go, oh, really? You did this? You did that? Oh, I know this person. This one. This one was on the phone to somebody else's husband saying, yes, I know you from 30 years ago. You were my neighbor, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh, what? So yeah,
You are
it's just a place for ladies to come and have fun, relax, let your hair down, meet other like-minded women, have fun,
yeah.
and then do something new and different as well. So it's really cool.
Brilliant. Well, I will direct everybody to your socials and also to your website. And I
Thank
love
you.
that you continue to bring people together in joy and laughter. Thank you so much for joining me, Celia. I'm so
Thank
glad that you
you.
were able to give me your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun. It's been so much fun. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad. That's what it's all about. Honestly, Celia is so funny. She had me cracking up, as you probably heard. I think what struck me most about this was about the advice she was given every time she went to the doctors. It seems to me that, um, when she was younger, she had no choice. And I was fascinated by what she said about her mother being a victim of, patriarchy as well and upbringing and culture, that she didn't feel that she could advocate fully for her child and so was only able to ask for strong painkillers. And I think that's really sad. It's really sad when we feel that we don't have a voice when we go to the one place where we really need people to listen to us. So the advice that you will have heard throughout all of these seasons is about not just trying to advocate for yourself, because that's easier said than done sometimes. If somebody doesn't want to listen to you, they're not going to listen to you. But what is important is that you're able to find things out yourself, which Celia was very good at doing. Listen to a range of people. Um, Go with a friend. I think the biggest thing about accessing menopause care is also about we must keep talking. We must break these taboos. Um, and what I love about Celia is that, yes, she might be an oversharer, but actually her oversharing has meant that more and more women are understanding what's going through them, what's going on with them as well. And that's important. That's what it's all about. So big up Celia for doing that for us. and for her community. And I hope that you feel able to, I hope part of this story resonated, but also I hope that with the episodes that you've been listening to, that you also feel seen and heard and held, and that you're able to access care for yourself too. As I said, I will be back in next week with a roundup of the last few episodes. Until then, like, share, subscribe, talk, keep talking, and we will speak soon. Don't forget, drink enough water, look after yourself, seek pleasure wherever you can find it, and we'll speak soon. I'll see you next week. Bye.